I'd rather it be more a conversation with you. I really don't want to.
And that
be
is,
talking.
you're not. It's
I'm
not.
just so annoyed with that.
That's not. And that can happen. The conversation will happen only because I've tried to do my homework on it as well. And that's with any of the guests.
That's
so,
really cool. Let's see what you know.
Oh man. So yeah, we
Quiz.
kind of already started some of the conversation, but let's just like to get warmed up.
Okay.
I haven't seen you in a really long time.
Yeah.
So, and you just graduated as a BSN, as a
I know,
nurse,
I'm
right?
so cool.
So how's that? How's getting back into healthcare?
I mean, I always that was straight up my passion. Like out of high school, I went to go be a paramedic. I feel like even getting back to things like, oh, you're a minority, you come from this family.
Yeah.
Like for me, a 4-year university wasn't a thing, so it was kind of just what are we gonna do? And then my dad mentioned the whole paramedic thing. I was like, perfect. It's $4,000.
Yeah.
You go. It's a job. It's a good career. You can potentially move up, going to the fire department.
Yeah, right.
Type of thing. But obviously you wait forever for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was just you know what? My dad's a fireman. My aunt's a cop. And I was I need to one-up them a little bit. What generation we have to build our wealth, you know? They've given me this much, so I have to maybe do a little more.
Okay.
So then I was yeah, I'll go be a nurse. Go, get my bachelor's in nursing. And even then, I did all my prereqs, community college.
Yeah.
And then I went to res or whatever, and then, yeah. I mean, I love it. I work at West Sub now with Dylan.
Yeah.
And,
wow, dream team.
Yeah, right. And,
Goof Squad.
I hate it. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, but I mean, it's a good time. I mean, I wouldn't want to do anything else with my life.
Oh, shit, okay.
Yeah. Besides, here's one thing. I beg people to ask me what I want my dream job to be.
Yeah.
Because, I'm always, asking questions, right?
Yes.
And then, so I'll ask, oh, what's your dream job? And then they'll say it. And I'm like, okay, now ask me mine. Because I'm I'm dying. But I would love to be, a voice of a cartoon.
Okay.
This is, but at the same time, I like to contribute to, society, whatever. Yeah. And so it's just, I would need to do both. I couldn't just be a cartoon voice character because I would be I'm not really... I'd put smiles on little children's faces.
It wouldn't be until you really got really good where people can associate your face to that voice.
Yeah. And I don't think I would feel, satisfied with my life if that's all I did.
Depends. I mean, when I hear a certain voice and I'm I watched that show every day after school, right? It's something like that.
Yeah.
But as a nurse, you probably have the time on the side to do that.
No, I think so.
To do voiceover work. And
yeah, I'm just lazy sometimes. I'm I should draw my own little cartoon, whatever.
Yeah.
Because I feel my brain just is 1,000% of the time going.
Right.
And then...
at some point you got to do.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
One day I'm going to send you something. I'm Victor, put this on your podcast. Thank you.
Is there anything else you're working on right now? What can we plug for you?
Literally nothing. I'm really just working on... I'm always working out.
Right. Yeah.
Just my mental health.
That's inspiring too.
Yeah. I was telling my girl the other day that throughout my transition, I feel I was coaching everyone else through it, where I didn't take the time to really coach myself through it.
Through the gym? Or through transitioning?
No, just through transitioning in general.
Yeah.
It was just okay, mom, dad, you have to call me he now. Or this is my name. And it's kind of getting everybody... Remember I told you, I don't really feel... I never used to yell at people or be oh, you got it wrong, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. It's kind of just it's okay, Victor. You try again.
Thank you.
Yeah. But, so now I feel finally, because I've transitioned, I have that time where I don't have to keep explaining myself to people.
Yeah.
Because you meet me now, no one's oh, he's
and what's
trans.
What's the term for that? Is that passable or is that...
what is that word? Yeah, that you pass now.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I pass.
Okay.
That's definitely the term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So now I've finally got time to sit there and really reflect on everything that's happened and maybe how I actually feel about it.
Yeah.
Because at the time, I can't sit there and because that was a thing. Oh, they'll say she instead of he.
Mm-hmm.
And even my mom to this day, we'll be in the kitchen when my dad's there, whatever, and it's oh yeah, she, and my dad's he.
Even to this day.
Even to this day, sometimes
Really?
I'm ma'am, get it together. I have a whole ass beard. What are you doing? But like that is the one person that I give like a extra second to
Okay.
like, like, okay, fine. You birthed me. I get it.
Okay.
But I remember some people will even be like, "Oh, Mason, like I have a hard time accepting it." Blah blah blah. I'm like, listen,
Really?
yeah.
Oh.
Like like well, or like they, yeah, they like didn't really accept it, or like didn't want to really agree that I look better as a male, or I look better as, you know what I mean? Like they're like kind of making an argument
Who
with
gives
me.
a fuck?
Yeah, apparently some people do.
Oh my god.
And I was like, listen, like if my mother can accept it, you can accept it. Like, grow up.
But even then, you're probably still not too forceful. Like, it's so out of your hands that you can't control what people think and want to say.
Yeah, and I feel like, but it's giving me perspective on things. Like but like if you wanted tomorrow to go jump off a cliff, I'd be like, all right, Vic, if that's what you want to do. Like I don't know, it's your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I feel like the only people that I truly like, whose opinions that matter to me the most is obviously my family's.
Right.
But even to some extent, like, it's still my life. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah.
Like my mom told me when I was younger, she's like a very good point. And for whatever reason, I love when people like, you can rant to me for hours, and I'd be fine with it because I'm like, I'm gonna take one or two things and I'm gonna live my life by it somehow.
Good.
So like my mom one day she told me, she's like, when you can't live for your parents, and you can't live for your kids either.
They told you that?
Yeah.
Good. Oh wow.
My mom's like, you can't live for me and you can't live for your kids, because one day I'm gonna die and you're gonna be stuck, like just you.
Yeah. And who are
and
you
then
gonna? Yeah.
one day your kids are gonna grow up and they're gonna find who they love, and it's just gonna be you. So you better do what you want in your life and what's gonna make you happy, and obviously pick somebody who is worthy of living that life with you. And I was like, damn, Mom, you're right.
And good for them. It's a different generation too.
Yeah.
So good for them.
And that was even her like kind of like, not want to say giving up, but like saying like, you know what, like it's only she had a realization.
Oh, so she wasn't always like that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, like they had like a tough time. They didn't. I think it's like not being educated enough on the matter.
Yeah.
Like even when I was younger, one time, this trauma, but I'd always want to go out to like the family parties like in jeans.
Okay.
And she always wanted me to wear a dress, but like I didn't want to freaking wear
Wow.
a dress. I was like, Mom. And like the thing was that I had like a bunch of boy cousins, so we'd always be running around.
Right.
And so my dad let me do things more on the sense of like he like made excuses for me. He's just like like, and this is always tricks me up too. Like, do I say she or he?
Back then, right?
Yeah, back then.
Right.
So whatever, we'll say she. She's like, she wants to like run around and play.
Right.
And then my mom was like, well, she's a girl, she needs to wear a dress.
Wow.
And then eventually my dad would win and let me, run around like that. But I remember one day I was walking out, and my older brother, who is gay, was sitting in the kitchen with my mom, and I walked out with my jeans and whatever. And my mom, I remember hearing my mom, I was like 10, saying like, what is she, a lesbian? And I think she said the F word too. I don't know. She was really mad.
Wow.
Right. And there's like, but that's my mom. And then that's the same woman later on in life
Wow.
who educated herself some more, and now we're super cool.
You're lucky, man.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't as easy, I feel like, as most people know it to be.
Okay.
Like when I was 17, I moved out of my house because I basically said, you guys need to accept me or I'm leaving. And I did. And I feel like that's when it clicked in their head, like, this kid's not joking. Like, and it was hard. I worked at Family Dollar, first of all, which I made back then was like $8.25 an hour. I got paid like $300. Shit. Yeah, at the end of the week. And I was still in high school. And I'd wake up at 4 a.m. and I would go do my shift. I would help unload the truck to get me some hours. And then I would go to high school from 7 to 3. I'd go straight to work. And then I'd work from 3 to midnight because I would help close. And then I rented one room. And the room was big enough just to have a bed, to the point where you open the door, it would hit the bed.
It's a closet.
Yeah, that was it. It was like $200 a month. And so I did that. So I'd walk home because I lived like a mile away from it. So I get home 1 o'clock, do whatever stupid homework I had to do, and then what?
Do it all
Sleep
over again.
2-3
Yeah.
hours and do it again.
Right.
But in my head, that was what I had to do. But I was actually talking to my girl because I was telling her like I was gonna go like do this with you.
Mm-hmm.
And one big thing that I feel like I like to stress to everyone is just like I don't like taking away credit from like you to say that if you were in my shoes, you wouldn't be just as courageous as I am, quote unquote courageous.
Right.
You know, because I'm just like that's not fair. Like obviously, like if you don't feel like you have to transition, I'm not like wow, Victor, you're a little baby. You know.
Everyone's going through something.
Right. And I was just like, I told her, I was like, you know, like, either way, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if I'm at the edge of the cliff and I jump off, I'm like, wow, he's so courageous. I'm like, but there's literally, like, maybe, like, a stampede of rhinos coming. Am I really courageous? Or is, like, that's just something you had to do? I was like, maybe the way I did it was a little different. Like, I jumped and I was, like, you know, doing backflips or something as I jumped down. But other than that, like, it's just something, like, to me, like, transitioning was like life or death type of thing, as morbid as that sounds. But I was just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you were in my shoes, if she was in my shoes, we would have done the same thing. But like, other than that, like I understand like it's different. And, but at the same time, I'm like, I mean, I don't know. I think you're a pretty cool guy.
Thanks, man.
I feel like if Victor really felt like a girl, he would be a girl.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
You'd be a pretty ugly one.
Oh fuck! What?
No,
really?
I'm just kidding. No, you'd be good because you wouldn't even need the, you know, like the guys who transition from male
The
to
bone
female.
structure.
No, but they have to get like the laser hair removal.
Man, I still shave like once a week. Stop
okay,
it. Come on.
once a week. Sir, you got 3 strands. No, but yeah, like it's just I don't know. I feel like I don't want to say because then the whole like trans community will come for you and be like, you know, but like I feel like not that it's not a big deal because it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to it, but at the same time, it's like this. I have no other choice. It's either this or just live unhappy. And remember I told you like. I live by quotes people tell me or whatever sometimes. I had a music teacher and she was gay, and I hate the word lesbian, so I always say gay for females too.
Interesting.
I don't know
Can
why.
You don't know why?
It triggers me. I hate it.
Is it from pop culture or like what?
You know what? It might be from my own experience. I feel like it's so aggressive.
Oof. Okay.
Maybe just because in the way people used to tell them like, oh, are you a lesbian?
And it's there's a lot of different avenues within that own
right.
word.
There's studs, there's lipsticks, there's stuff like that.
I've never even heard of that one, but okay.
Which one?
Lipstick. I'm like, what?
Lipstick is like a girly lesbian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like
Is that
think
like
of them to put lipstick.
Femme? Is it like?
Yeah, like
same
femme.
thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Femme. Okay.
But it's like I don't know. I think it's a cuter way of saying it. Like, oh, she's a lipstick.
Hey, okay. All right.
Because femme, I feel like maybe like I don't know. In the community, you want to like talk in code sometimes.
Okay.
So that like you, for instance, obviously I can then like okay, he's not trans, and he's not gay.
Right.
Because if you were in the community, you would know what lipstick means.
Oh yeah.
You know. Because like it's very I don't know. It's very normal terminology for me. But if you're not, then I'm just like okay.
Interesting.
Just a cis male.
Okay. Yeah, and that I recently learned that too. I'm like,
cis?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I remember one time I said that, like, why are you calling her, like they think I like saying sister for short.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, no. But that is a word that I just recently learned that, like, people really don't know.
No, but, like, it just...
Cisgendered?
I think it's coming from... I mean, maybe everyone should use it, but, like, for the heterosexual community, it's just, like, it is... Most people are just...
Male or female?
Male or female.
Yeah.
We're changing the definition of normal, I guess.
Yeah.
But what... So, yeah, your work ethic and probably this whole process has led you...
Wait, I want to go back to the lesbian part.
Sorry. Yeah.
I was like, where were we?
Sorry.
No.
Thank you.
No, but I was like I said, like I had that experience with my mom,
Yeah.
who was like fucking lesbian, and then, like I think when I was like in 7th or 8th grade, there was these group of white girls who, first of all, I'm in 7th grade. I don't know how anybody is in 7th grade besides myself, but I was like super into sports. I wasn't even really thinking about like dating anybody.
Okay.
Like obviously, whatever, you have celebrity crushes or whatever, but like I don't know, it's not really a thing. Like I feel like people No, I had just a lot of stuff with like sports and stuff. I remember them coming up to me and asking me like, "Are you a lesbian?" I'm not even sure I really understood that word yet.
Yeah.
I was just like, "Am I a what?" Like a lesbian. I'm just like,
Mm.
but the way they said it to me, it was like it was a bad thing.
Derogatory, yeah.
Yeah. So now every time I hear lesbian, I'm like, I don't like it.
Okay.
Unless.
What do you think gave it off?
What?
You talk about like gaydar, and like why do you think people were coming up?
Oh, I mean, my mannerisms for
Okay.
sure. I was always, and I think in seventh grade was like the first, or like, so I like to think of my transition in stages of like coping in a sense. So like when I was younger, obviously, like you grow up, you basically boys and girls wear the same thing, unless like your mother wants you to wear a dress. But other than that, like you can get away with wearing some denim. Denim was like a big thing.
Right.
Jeans, overalls, or whatever. And then you start to have like that process of like bodies are changing, boys become whatever, like bigger, stronger, and then girls, are I don't know, expected to do whatever they're expected to do.
Right.
But in seventh grade, I was like begging my mother to let me dress in boy clothes. Like we would go shopping because before the school year would start, she'd always like go get us like new outfits and stuff. And I remember being like, I just want like guy jeans, or if it was girl jeans, it was like, can we get like straight cut?
Right.
You know. So I think finally this is when she like gave in because I've been fighting her for so long. So 7th and 8th grade, I wore pretty much boy clothes. I want to say for sure boy. And my brother was older, so then I could steal his stuff without it being like weird.
Yeah.
So I would take his clothes, and yeah, like I would never like actively hit on a girl at all at school. I was in 7th grade.
Sure.
But I would like my best friends were guys. Like I would play sports and I dressed in boy clothes. So I feel like that might have been a giveaway. My hair was always up. That was definitely a giveaway.
Okay. But at that point, did you, and you, maybe not from you, but like think about the gender versus sexual, like,
orientation in 7th grade? Hell
right?
no.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Okay.
I honestly, I didn't figure out I was trans until like I saw a video on like YouTube or something.
Okay.
Because I feel like that was the lack. And growing up, my definition of trans, and it sounds very ignorant. It's just also why like I kind of cut people slack.
Okay.
Because it's just like, bro, I'm whole ass trans, and I was ignorant back then. Like I thought trans was like drag queens.
Oh, okay.
I was like, well, I don't want to be that. Like I don't feel like I'm like super flamboyant. Like I need to be like, but that was my only definition. So I'm kind of just like, that's why I take, that as I go along in life. 'Cause I'm just like, I can't really blame people because I'm just like, I'm literally living before I even knew it as a trans man.
Right.
And not understanding it. So I can't even expect someone who doesn't even have my thoughts and feelings to really understand it or take the time to educate themselves on it.
Right. So did you just, when the words and the identities came to you, you just identified as a gay then? As a gay person?
Are you a gay?
Are you right?
No, yeah. So like basically I didn't know how to label myself.
Yeah.
Growing up, and then I feel like when those girls mentioned it in 7th grade, it made me think about it. Because before I didn't think about it at all. And then I was just like, okay, like maybe that does make sense. I'm like looking up lesbians, I'm just like, okay, so they like girls. I think I like girls. Like I never found a man attractive. So I was just like, okay, I guess I'm lesbian or gay. So then I kind of took that and ran with it. Am I allowed to swear?
Yes, we've been swearing.
We have been, sorry. I took that shit and I ran with it. And I remember, like, even I was always very open about it.
Okay.
Like, I remember coming out to my mom as gay, like, when I was in 8th grade.
Okay.
Because I really didn't feel like I could hold it in. Like, my older brother is gay, but he kept it a secret for so long.
Okay.
And I just feel like he had, like, a hard time, like, coming to terms with it. But I was always very much like, no, this is it. Like, I'm not going to fight it. But,
take it or leave it.
Yeah. So, like, again, like 7th, 8th grade, dressed in boy clothes. And I remember 8th grade was like this, you switch from like 8th grade to high school. And I can almost see like the pain in my mom's eyes with like trying to accept me as like either gay or whatever. And I think it was like a mix of like she just wasn't educated on it. And I don't want to rag on my mom too much, but she wasn't educated on it. And then like she was like, I can't protect you out there with what people are gonna say.
Oh.
And like then I like kind of like saw her point of view, or like not that I felt bad, but I was like, I mean she's right, but like I'm big, Mom. It's okay. You know, like I'm gonna have to figure it out eventually. You can't protect kids forever.
Right.
So she was very big on that. She was just like, whoa, you know, someone says something to you out there, like even like I think during that time there's a lot of a lot of stuff in the news, but like kind of just like gay people have, you know, hate crimes, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So she was just like, I don't know, like no one wants their kid to like hurt. No one wants their kid to sit there and go through things that they can't really like protect them from. Yeah.
Right.
So I remember 8th grade, her and my brother. I don't know, my brother was so into dressing like a girl too.
Oh.
We always joke. I was just like, we really should have switched places. This is messed up. But I remember I was like, okay, Mom, like I'm gonna try to dress in girl clothes. So they came home from like Kohl's with all these girly clothes, and they had me try them on, and I remember feeling like my skin was crawling. Like I felt like I was having an allergic reaction.
Was it a dress? What was it?
It was dramatic. It was I think it was just like a girly shirt, like one of those tight shirts, but very form-fitting.
Yeah.
And I had like skinny jeans on.
I can't even picture it.
It's gross. I hated it. I hated it so much. But I put it on, you know, and I'm trying so hard, but I just could not do it. And I was just like, I think at that point is when I realized, and then my mom even saw it. She was just like, he's not comfortable.
Ooh.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I was walking around. I was like, Mom, I can't.
Good for you for trying, though.
I really did try.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, am I just being like...
To make them happy.
Yeah. I was just like... But then I think that's why my mom started saying, like, you know what? You can't live for me. Like, it's okay. And then... So she let me go to high school how I was doing it. And then I think it was like my sophomore year in the summer, I cut my hair. But I always felt like I was more respectful of it. I asked them first. I'm like, Mom, is it okay if I cut my hair? And I feel like at that point it was like they really couldn't fight me out. They feel like they knew I was going to do it, but they just kind of had to like let me do it. Like they could probably say no, but I would have fought them.
Yeah.
You know. So then they let me cut my hair. I cut it pretty short. Like cut it like basically how it is now. I think back then like mohawks were a thing, so I think I had a mohawk.
This is still like 8th grade, 9th grade?
This is like no, it's like sophomore year.
Okay.
So like I told you it was like in stages, like but eventually I'd get uncomfortable. Where like I need more.
Ooh, okay.
So like I was just like, okay, I dress like a boy. I feel okay. And then I was like, I don't like my hair. And I used to have nightmares. Even after I cut my hair, I would have nightmares that it grew back.
Shit.
And then it was long. And I would be like...
In a dress again or whatever.
Yeah, no, not a dress, but like just scared. Yeah. Just like feeling my hair around. But yeah, so I cut my hair and then I was like, okay, I feel better. And then after that, what did I do after that? So now I'm like, oh, then I chopped my breast off. Yeah.
You say that like you did it.
I basically did. What do you mean? No, I didn't do it myself. Yeah, that's scary. No. Then I got top surgery. I remember I got out of the shower one day, and now that you see when I talk about it, I think about it. I'm like, it was very traumatic.
Okay.
But I did it in increments, and I did it in like when you're living through something. I feel like you really are just like, I just got to get through it. I got to get through the next day. I got to get through the next minute, and it'll be okay. And you just kind of learn to live with yourself. But I remember when I would take a shower, I would do it very quickly. And I need to get dressed very quickly. Like even like, so women's nipples are very sensitive. Mm-hmm. So even like the towel like on my nipple when I was I was like, oof, like I don't like that sensation is so strong.
Okay.
And then even like seeing my like breast grow, that was like cringeworthy. I used to wear a sports bra.
Okay.
Like so tight that like it was like binding.
Yeah.
Before I even knew what binding was, I didn't know what binding was. Like now like people have binders.
Right.
Right, and they wrap themselves. But I didn't know what that was, so like I just wore it really. And I play sports, so I was like, I need an extra small sports bra. I need to put it on.
Wow.
And it would take forever to take it off. It would hurt.
Oh man.
But I used to go to sleep with it too, because I didn't want to feel like myself at night either.
Yeah.
But like these are things that I did that I just like without thinking. And then now that I think about it, I was like, holy crap, like I was binding her, like I was really struggling.
Interesting.
So yeah, I remember I came out of the shower one day and I was in my towel, and then I told my mom that I wanted to talk to her, and then I was like, I think I need to do like top surgery. But I wasn't on hormones yet at all. Like I just had short hair. And this was like my next step.
Yeah.
I was just like, they need to be gone. And then I cried about it. She didn't fight me at all, because I feel like she realized like if someone's legit saying that they're ready to surgically remove their breast, that they're pretty dead ass about it. So she's like, okay, just look up surgeons and whatever, we'll figure it out.
Oh.
So we did that, and that cost $7,000. And how much? I made like $9 an hour as an EMT. But I mean, I had to do it, so I figured it out. We did it. But that definitely sucked, like all out of pocket. I was telling my girl, like, you know how rich I'd be right now if I didn't have to have so many surgeries.
You work your ass off.
Yeah.
Nice.
It sucks,
Yeah.
but like it was something like a necessary thing to do.
Does the government help out with that these days?
Absolutely not.
Still not? Okay.
No. I don't think so. I mean, I know now, actually, yes. I know now that your insurance covers it.
Right. Maybe some.
But I feel like they have to sway them a lot. Like nowadays, like the doctors are doing a good job where they know like what diagnosis to put in or what things to say in order to like get it
for
covered.
insurance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But then no. Well, I remember I just started getting my testosterone shots covered not too long ago.
Oh.
When my gender on my birth certificate and my license switched to male.
Okay.
But before, it was like, okay, you're a female requesting testosterone, which is not a necessity, so we're not going to pay for it. But once you're a male and you're saying, oh, I lack testosterone, then we'll pay for it.
Okay.
But like you think about it, but in order to
you need
change,
testosterone. Yeah,
right? But
yeah.
in order to change, you need testosterone, or in order to change, you need either to see a therapist, which costs money, or you need to do top surgery. You have to have something. What do they call it? Like,
really?
Yeah, you have to have a. Like they need to see that you've. What's that word? Like made moves to basically change your gender permanently.
Yeah, took initiative.
Right.
Okay.
So like if you take off your breast, then okay, you qualify.
But
you can have a male.
It's like $7,000. I'm like, who has $7,000?
So like either way, like your first amounts of transitioning, it comes out of your pocket.
Wow.
From what I know.
Right.
And I feel like I researched it quite a bit. Or even like my name change cost
what?
$500.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
But I literally stood in front of so like you could pay $500. Or you can go see a judge and just cry to them how poor you are.
Oh.
And then they waive it.
I'm not poor.
I swear to God. I'm like, and back then I was super poor though. Like I was ready to pay the $500.
Yeah.
And the lady was just like, like you could try. She's like, just go to this judge and just tell him what your expenses are, tell him what your job is, and sometimes they waive it. So I remember going, I'm like, ma'am, please. I'm so poor. I'm eating tuna tonight, please.
Out of the can.
Please, like nothing else, just straight no.
With my fingers.
Yeah, but like then like she waived it, whatever. But like that's with that woman at the where was I? Wherever you go get your name changed, I forget. It's downtown.
Okay.
Being nice. She was just being nice. Like she didn't have to tell me that because I was getting ready to pay, and she's like, you could maybe try, but like I didn't know.
Cool.
And like even then, like I was like 18, very shy, which is funny because everybody doesn't think I'm shy. But my mom was gonna tell me yesterday. She's like, like when you were a kid, you were very shy. And I was like, yeah, I know, but no one believes me.
And do you think part of that was because you didn't feel like you were in your own,
Or even like when you met me.
Yeah. I remember, but I can't. I don't remember like what your voice sounded like.
Yeah.
Because the hair was short at that time,
Yeah,
so
the
it's
hair
like
was short.
I like most of it. It's like and no beard, obviously, but like
Mhm.
I remember like we only worked together like a couple times. For those who don't know, like we worked on an ambulance together,
Right.
and then I don't know what happened after. Like I went to medic school, or
Yeah.
you did you?
I went to No, I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
Cause I was
You know,
there.
was there something between ATI and Northwestern? Because did I help bring you on at Northwestern?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was I doing? I don't know.
I don't
I had a
know.
bunch of jobs though.
Yeah.
I worked at. I remember when I first came medic, I was also a waiter,
Okay.
which everybody at my job was like, "Why? If you're a paramedic, why are you a waiter?" I was like,
Oh, well,
"We don't
this
make
is
any
why.
money." I love my job, but it makes me no money. But yeah, I forgot what we were talking about. We were talking about jobs. Oh, me not remembering how I used to be.
Yeah.
That's the deal for a lot of people. Like now, like even Dill will tell me, she's like, like honestly, all I know is Mason. Like I don't remember, and I feel like it's very nice. I don't like we were talking about dead naming.
Yeah.
And a lot of these things, I'm just like I don't mind it. Like I don't mind telling people my name. On the soul, like, but I feel like it's all on like people's intent.
Right.
Like I feel like some people, and it's something I still struggle with, is like realizing that I will have to be. I'm always gonna be like transitioning in my life, but so is everybody. Like everybody, things are always changing. But I was just like, man, like, cause I started my new job, right? I'm in this new workspace, and everybody's getting to know me, and everybody only knows me as Mason. No one knows that I'm trans at work.
Right.
And I had an instance where they wanted to add me on Instagram, and on my Instagram, it's all over there.
You're open. You are an open book, but you don't like, hey world, like.
Yeah, who does? No one does that. Like, hi, my name is Mason.
But I used to be.
Yeah,
right,
like that's just weird.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one of two things with people, which I guess still bothers me. Where it's like either they talk to me and like, oh, this kid's cool, whatever. And they'll kind of either like push me off a little bit. And I know I'm cool. I know I'm fun. Don't lie to me.
Oh, yeah.
But then they'll find out that I'm trans, and it's almost like a shift.
They treat you different?
Yeah, they'll treat me different. It's either good or bad. It's either bad where they're just like,
stop hanging?
Yeah, like don't talk to me type of thing.
Okay.
Or it's like, and for the most part now in this day and age and time, it's like, oh wow, like that's so cool. Like let me add you to the repertoire of my friends. Like it almost gives them
more like clout in the trans community.
Exactly. They're like, wow, like yeah, I know a person like that. And I think that's so annoying because it's like, well, wait a second, you were like, I was just like some regular Joe before, and you didn't really care too much to talk to me, but now like you're all about it.
Interesting.
So that's annoying. So I remember like I didn't want to add them because I was just like, I'd rather them get to know me first.
Okay.
Because there's way more to me than me just being trans.
Yes.
This is not it's not my identifier. Like it's not me. It is a part of my life, just like anything. But it's not. It shouldn't be the reason why you now love me.
Yeah.
Like I've had people that legit. I had this girl who came up to me, who I used to know, who I used to play soccer with, and she was like, "Oh, like," she's like, "Yeah." The other day, somebody asked me like, "How do I know you?" And I told them like, "Oh yeah, that's my best friend," and they were talking about like how like he's trans, but he doesn't look like a girl. Like he passes very well. Like this is such a great looking trans man. Blah blah blah. And she's like, "Yeah, I told him that you were my best friend." I was like, "Why?" Man, we haven't talked in years. But she felt like it gave her that clout, I guess, for lack of a better term. Just like made them. It like makes them cooler.
Interesting.
But like at my expense, like that's like me coming up to somebody like, "Oh yeah, Victor's my best friend," because like the person like just loves Burmese people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, wow, like that's your friend. Like it's not.
No.
I'm sorry, but me being your friend is not your like personality characteristic.
Interesting.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's really not. And then I think people should somewhat reflect on that. Like, what is that saying about what you have to offer? That you're, you know. I also read something the other day, and it was like, people like don't rock with you until everybody starts rocking with you. And I was like, okay, Twitter, you know.
True,
like,
but chill.
Yeah, true but chill. But it's somewhat, you know, like let's say people do that though. Like you'll walk into a bar, and it's just you, and you're just like, oh, look at this little cute little Asian man.
Sure.
He's drinking a beer. He looks like he would be interesting to talk to. And then whatever, you're just there, and then like I show up, Dylan shows up, you know, XYZ, our friends show up, and now we're all talking to you, and it's like, oh man, this kid's popular, this kid's cool, like now I'll go talk to him. But like, what stops people from doing that beforehand? And I try to not do that in my life at all, where I'm just like, I don't care like who you're friends with or who you're not friends with. Like, are you a genuine person? I'll go talk to you.
Shit, man. I think about that too, because I mean, this podcast has been alive for about a year, and there are times where I get into my head, I'm like, damn, I've had some really cool people on the podcast, like that. I'm like, that's up my like social dynamics and whatnot. No, it doesn't. Like, work on your fucking self. Like,
Yeah.
no matter who you have on the show, it's like,
that's true. It kind of gets to your head, and it's kind of like, I hate, like, that's why, like, I try not to be that person either.
Yeah.
Because I see it.
Yeah.
Like, even at work, like, all of a sudden, because then finally they bullied me into getting my Instagram. I was like, fine, whatever.
Okay.
I'm apparently 12 years old, and I can't not accept the friend request. But whatever. And then I remember walking to the break room, and it's these two girls. I'm not going to name names because I don't know. But it's these two girls. And they're always talking. Like, they're, like, best friends, you know? And I walk in, it's dead silence.
Oh, they were talking about
And I'm like, bro. So then I see the one, like, kind of, like, look for her jacket. You know, like, when you pretend to do something, like, you really focus. I'm like, bro, stop lying. You are not looking for your jacket that hard. And whatever, like, I laughed it off or whatever. But, like, I know, you know, we know what the hell was going on here. But it's just, like, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, yeah, Mason's cool. Like, oh, now that you know that I'm trans, I'm cool. You know, like, it's annoying. But then I was just like, wow, like, this is going to be, like, the rest of my life where, like, I get to meet people, they get to know me, and either they love me for me, which would be great, and then, or, you know, they're okay with me, and then they figure out that I'm trans, and then they're just like, oh, wow, like, I really like this kid.
Yeah, but you're always in charge of who you keep around you.
Yeah, exactly. And I say, I vote them off the boat. Thank you. No, just kidding. But, yeah. I mean, it's hard sometimes, though. Because, like, I mean, either way, like, as tough skin as I want to have, like, things get to you.
Yeah.
You know, where you're just like, damn, that sucks. It's life. And obviously, in a perfect world, like, it wouldn't be a thing, but it is. Or even, like, we talk about, like, labeling. Like, when I was younger, like, I didn't know what to call myself, you know? Or I didn't realize what trans was. But I feel like labeling, too, sometimes makes me mad because I'm just like...
You're boxing someone in.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair.
Interesting.
Because think about it, all the, like, women I had in my life are... Like, how are you going to box them? I remember, like, you know, my relationship for, like, 5 years... She was with me throughout my transition. And before, when she met me, I was a straight-up female. No transition, no nothing. And then I transitioned, and then she was still with me, and I'm, holy crap, male. You know, and it's kind of just like, everybody would ask her, like, well, what are you? And she would always identify as straight.
Shit.
You know, but, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But then, like, technically people are like, oh, then she could be pansexual.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because, like, then sex, like, gender doesn't matter to you, whatever.
Right,
but at the same time, it was almost like she didn't feel that way about everybody. It was just, like, me.
Okay.
So, like, I feel like it's not fair to, like, box someone in like that. Because then she'll go on to live her life, and maybe she's just with a guy, maybe she's a girl.
Right.
It doesn't matter. But either way, it's kind of just, like, I don't know. I feel like everyone in some way or form is fluid.
Yeah.
You know? depends on, I guess, the person too. Some people are more open-minded, some people are less.
Right.
But I really don't. I think it's like, because even that situation, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know what you would call yourself.
Just name. you
Yeah.
know? That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's all we can do.
But, like, even, I remember I was reading some of your questions, and it was like, first moments of dysphoria, right? And I was like, honestly, when I was younger, in preschool,
Oh, shit.
it was definitely in preschool, I supposedly, I still fight my mom on this, but I know she's right. I went to school as Catwoman.
Okay.
But in my head, I was Batman all day.
Oh, shit.
I was freaking I was walking around thinking I was but I really wasn't. And then I saw a picture. I'm literally Catwoman.
Oh, okay.
I was like, okay, you're right. But like, I was like, in my head, I was like somehow coping.
Okay.
I was changing, like, what was actually happening in order to like deal with it.
Yeah.
Because I was in like an all black thing.
Just need a cape.
Yeah. And I was just like, wow, I'm Batman.
Huh.
Just walking around happy. Yeah. Just happy as shit. Just, it's cool. But then I realized I wasn't. And then, yeah, I was just like, wow. But I didn't think about that until like I read that question. I was like, first moments. Or even like my name. So my name before was Megan, right?
Yeah.
And I knew other Megans who were female, but I'd never, like, I was like, okay, that Megan is a female and that name is female. But when I thought of my name, I was just me. It wasn't female, it wasn't male, it was just like, that's just my name. And like, but I also think that's weird. I'm like, I gave myself like a no gender because like as a younger kid, I was like, okay, I and like in my head, it was bonkers to be like, I'm a boy mom, because I felt like that was far-fetched. I'm like, I can't tell my mom that. I don't even know if that's true, because I'm like, I don't look like a boy. I feel like one, but I don't look like one. And I'm 6. How am I gonna make an argument to my 30-year-old mother?
Right, but there's no denying that you felt it at such an early age.
Yeah, I really feel like you're born with it.
Oh my God. So then
That's
like,
1000%. Like that whole argument of it's nature, it's bullshit. At least for me. I don't want to speak for everyone.
you mean nurture?
Sorry, right. Nurture.
So,
like
yeah, it's
that is
completely nature.
straight bullshit. It's 100% like it's in my blood.
And there are parents out there that think that it's pop culture or whatever people are watching on YouTube or TV or whatever they're consuming is what is, nurturing them towards a certain direction. And some parents would probably press the brakes for a second and be like, whoa, you're not even 18.
Yeah.
What part of you can make this decision?
Yeah.
You're not old enough. You're not mature enough to make this decision.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my mom had that moment too where she was like, how can you know who you like yet? I'm like, you just know. Like, and I, like, even thinking about it, like, they have, like, I told you, I watched the documentary, but, like, they had the thing in there where it was just, like, there's a whole bunch of, like, research that they've already done that's legit, like, when you're in your womb, and if you're female, whatever, with your chromosomes, but you have a lot of testosterone come in there, then that's when they see that, like, difference of, like, okay, this baby comes out female, but turns out being trans. Like, there's legit science. And if people want to be, like, so, like, oh, like, you're either this or you're that, then, like, let's listen to science. Like, it's straight up telling you. Like, I forgot what else is in there, but there was stuff like,
no, doctors would make a decision for you,
Or, like, I think it was, like, the hypothalamus, where they studied that, and it's, like, it's not even, like, the frontal lobe. It's not even, like, the personality lobe that is, like, saying, like, you're male. It's legit, like, other parts of your brain that are, like, just, like, how we breathe. Like, very much just, like you think about it, yeah. You would think, like, okay, your frontal lobe, okay, that makes sense. Like, maybe that got tweaked, that got messed with through, like, if you want to say pulp culture or whatever. But it's legit, like, the hypothalamus, like, that has to do with, like, your metabolism, stuff like that. And it's just, like, you can't argue with that. And I told you, I try to change.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I gave it a shot. Just nothing in me was like wanting to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I forgot who I was talking to, or if I saw it. I don't know if I read it somewhere. But it was like, they talk about gay conversion therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like, I want to say it was a movie. I don't know.
Is that to go like turn him straight?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like, gay guy, whatever, or father wants his son not to be gay. And so they send him to like gay conversion camp. And then the mother like gets mad. And it's kind of just like, okay, you're a straight man. If I sat there and I rubbed balls in your face all day and just told you that this is what you like now, are you going to want to like suck on some balls?
Nope.
Exactly. Like, it's just not going to work. Like, so I feel like that's another thing. Like, people got to realize, like, you can't be so, like, closed-minded. You have to really think of it from, like, other avenues. Like, I'm huge on, like, metaphors. I'm always, like, trying to give people, like, analogies. And I'm like, okay, like, what if this? And then it clicks, I feel, for some people.
Right.
It's just, like, you need to be able to see it. And unfortunately, like, people need to see it somehow, like, unveil in their own life. Like, I knew somebody before who was
within
very
maybe their circle or something.
Yeah, like super like angry toward homeless people.
Okay.
Like, oh, like they're bums, they don't do anything with their life, they're probably on drugs. And my argument always was, I was like, that could be any of us at any point in time. I was like, this guy's story. I was like, what if this guy is a really stand-up guy? He spent all of his money, taking care of his mother's cancer bills, and put himself in debt, and then she died, and then he, I don't know, got a little sad, maybe stopped going to work, and then now he's homeless. Like, everybody's story is not the same. So I'm just like, even, like, there's no reason to not be able to see that. Like everybody's story is different. You can't sit there and just be like, oh, that's that and this is that.
Yeah.
Same thing with me.
Put them all in a box, yeah.
I literally had no choice in the matter. Like, it is what it is. Like, I feel like I tried, but there's only so much you can do.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, I feel like I'm in between, where like there's kids now that do hormone blockers, which I think is crazy though.
Right. But that's not as because it's reversible in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives them like technically like a little extra time.
Right.
And I feel like I don't think it's technically the kids that need time. I feel like it's like the parents that need time. I feel like it makes them feel better.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, okay, like, we'll give you some time to think about it, and then the parents, the kids
said that,
yeah, like the kids are like, okay, like,
but this is for you.
Yeah, honestly though, because I feel like they know, but I mean, your parents have raised you for how long, and they're telling you like, you probably like they're adamantly telling you like, how could you know, and you're gonna second guess. You're 12.
Mm-hmm.
How are you not gonna second guess yourself over your parent who's literally taught you how to tie your shoe, put a fork to your mouth? Like, you're gonna be like, okay, maybe they have a point, and then you obviously, it's a big decision. And how much would you walk back with your tail between your legs of like, oh man, mom made a mistake, and then you've done irreversible things.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, yeah, I feel like it's buying time for the parents to come to terms with it, and to like, for the kid to give like a reasonable argument, like, okay, mom, I've done your hormone blockers.
Yeah.
I still feel the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, let's move on with the process.
So let's go back to the mastectomies.
Oh, okay.
How did you feel after?
In pain. Yeah. No, it hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Because, so it's all based on size. So like, if you have like A cups,
mm-hmm.
you could do keyhole. So it's like they cut around your nipple, basically take your nipple off, and then they suction out the little fat, and then they paste the nipple back on, and then you're good. Sometimes they do a little like nipple reconstruction, because a man's nipple is technically, I think, a dime size, they say, and women's nipples are bigger. The areola is bigger.
Sure, yeah.
So they have to reconstruct it so it looks more like a man.
Okay.
But for me, I wasn't able to do keyhole. And like the trans community, I feel like keyhole is like really nice because you don't have like the long scars.
Mm-hmm.
So like my scars are like around the nipple, which you can't really tell now because like everyone has like, you know, little, I don't want to say dots, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about, like, you know, around your nipple. So it kind of like blends in with that.
Oh, okay.
And you have one down from the nipple, like a small incision, maybe like an inch, and then straight across.
Yeah.
Right. And that's because my breast's probably, I think, a B cup.
Okay.
So that's taking the fat out, and then they have to masculinize your chest. So they have to drop the nipple. They gotta make the nipple smaller, and they gotta give you more of like a box,
Right.
a boxy look.
Right.
And they gotta pull the skin, because if you think about it, you have your boobs that are like taking up space in skin.
Right.
So then you don't want saggy tits, even if you're a man.
Right.
So then they like basically pull everything back, get rid of extra skin, and then they paste you back together.
Oh shit.
But it's a lot. I remember I've had 2 scar revisions.
Right.
And now I'm done because I'm sick and tired of it.
Is that? Do you know if that's average? That needing the revisions.
Honestly, I feel like yes. Just because it's like, if you think it's pretty traumatic surgery, like they're pulling, they're yanking, and I also feel like maybe because I'm just like always up and going, I think if I went back to work earlier probably than I should have. But that's because I needed money.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have the time to really rest. And like at ATI, like all we do is lift and move people. Technically I shouldn't be putting my hands over my head. I shouldn't be lifting anything crazy because I'm using those pectoral muscles.
Yeah.
So I went to work probably back a little too early, and it kind of caused, you know, like pulling, like, you know, like this.
Oh.
So then,
widen the scar, or?
Yeah, like right in the scar, like right here. So they were kind of like keloided, like very thick scars. So then I needed to go back and get a revision, and that's why I was happy when I went to go work at Northwestern, because we don't really lift and move there.
Yeah.
So even if I had to go back to work, it was very
Low key.
Yeah, it wasn't like I had to be moving a whole lot. But even then, like, it was a damper on my pocket because you have to take time off. So not only am I paying $7,000 out of my pocket, but then I'm taking like a month to 2 off in order to heal.
Wow.
So I think I only took like 3 weeks to heal from my first surgery, and then I went back to work. And then my scar revision, the first time, I did a little better. And then the second one, I was like, you know, I'm sick and tired of this. I can't be moving around. Like, I'm just going to give it time. And then I had a little better of a job. So then when I did it, they went back and they, like, fixed my nipple again. Like, they made it a little smaller. But I remember it cost more to knock you out. So I told them, I was like, it's fine, I'll stay awake. So I was awake, and they just, like, numbed the area, you know? But that, honestly, that hurts so bad. And I think about it now.
That's why you remember how traumatic it was. Okay.
Yeah. But they, like, whatever, they numbed the area, and they cut it, and he's like, do you feel anything? I'm like, no. But I remember one time, I don't know if he didn't get to a certain spot or, like, the numbing came off. And then he cut, and I was like, I feel it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he's like, okay. And then he went back and numbed it. But this is also why I'm always hating on Caitlyn Jenner. I hate her. I hate her so much.
Okay.
Bro, I hate her. Because, like, I don't know. I feel like later on in life, when I get a little more settled and I make a little more money, or I can, I don't know, maybe be a voice of a cartoon and make just stupid money for no reason, that I would like to give back. Like, I feel like our statistics-wise on going to college, having a career are pretty bad. You know, like, you step into the realm of, like, number one, like, growing up, I was a Hispanic female, you know, who, technically I'm second generation. My stats on being anything in life are pretty low. Now we add, like, trans into the mix of it. Now they're even lower, you know, because they have a lot of, like, you know, basically we need therapy. Like, our mental is pretty messed up there. So like it kind of puts a damper on your everyday life. Like maybe they're more depressed, or if they do make it, if they don't go through the statistic of committing suicide, then like at that point it's like, okay, like I want to do well, but I really don't have the resources because I'm sad 1,000% of the time. So I feel like Caitlyn Jenner wants to like cry about like, oh, like I've given a voice to like trans people, blah blah blah. But in my head, I'm just like, first of all, okay, I know you waited a long time to transition. Like I try to like be super nice or whatever, but you transition. You have like the best surgeons. Mm-hmm. You're not worrying about needing to go back to work. You're not worrying about the money that's gonna pay for your top surgeons. You're not worried about, any of that. And then your transition is one and done. Boom. Yeah, like you're in the media or whatever, but now everybody knows. Like me, like there's people in my family who now that I see at family parties, which is also very weird. Or they don't know who I am, first of all.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So like that I have to basically I've already been 4 years now.
Yeah.
And everyone that I usually communicate on a daily basis, they know. I don't have to go over it.
Right.
But then I go to these family parties and they're like, who is this kid? And then like my family either has to tell them like in silence, like, oh, like, but sometimes it's like older people, like my older aunts who don't understand. They're going to be like, what?
Right.
That's a thing, Yeah. But yeah, like Caitlyn, one and done. Like everybody knows, it's not like she has to go be like awkward somewhere at a family party trying to eat a taco in peace. But, and then like, I don't know, like I would want to like, I don't know, do something, like put some scholarships out there.
Yeah.
Like if you're a trans female, male, or anybody in the community and you want to go to college, like people get scholarships for like wearing glasses. Like it's $1,000,
right?
For having that disability. But like she does nothing like that. Or if she does, it's not really, I haven't heard about it. So I feel like, I don't know. It just seems she's very selfish in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, even like, so my dad, I have an older brother, I told you, but he's my half brother. So he's half white, half Mexican. So he's like this, he looks mostly white. He's like 6'2". I'm 5'4".
Wow.
First of all.
Yeah.
And so he's like 6'2", white guy. And in my family, they know that my dad has 2 kids, basically. It has a boy and a girl. But everybody in my family, we're all small. Like my grandma's like 4'11". Like even all my girl cousins are like 5 feet. So like they know, they're like, okay, like I know Walter, who's my dad, has a boy and a girl, right? But the boy, like they remember, is a 6-foot white guy.
Yeah.
Like you'll remember that
in
my family. So then they see me and they're like, this doesn't make any, So then like whatever, they're trying to figure it out and stuff. And I'm just like, it's annoying. Sometimes I'm just like, how, but they're like older too. So it's like, how am I I'm going to talk to my 70-year-old aunt. I'm like, yes, ma'am. So this is the trans community. You can use they, them, she, like they're not going to be like, get out of my face. Honestly. And I would do the same. If I'm old, I'm like, what are you talking about? Because honestly, think about that. Like you grow up.
Flip their world upside down.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes it's almost easier to just like leave them alone. Or like even like my grandma was very strangely like okay with it.
Oh. Like
I didn't tell them. My mom and dad told my grandma about me because I didn't have. I don't think I had the courage to do it because I was afraid of her reaction because I love my grandma. Like she basically raised me. Like my parents would go to work and then I'd be at home with my grandma. And it's just like I almost like to give people a second to have their first reaction on their own or not in front of me, because it's like
there's no pressure.
Yeah, then you can have your reaction. Like anything, like you get mad and like 30 minutes later you calm down and then you're actually able to talk. Yeah. And I almost like to give people that time where it's just like have your first reaction, make your first face, because once I hear what you say, once I see I can't get rid of it. It's not gonna come out of my head, and then we both have to live with that. And I just rather not do that to either one of us. You know, I don't want you to feel bad, and I don't want to feel bad either. So, but she told my mom, she was just like, honestly, like, it's like she said, like I've known it since he was little.
Oh, no shit.
Like he would do things like when he would go play, and like I saw it, like I knew it was gonna be a thing.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
obviously I don't think my grandma knew what trans was either, but she was just like, it's not like a normal girl.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So she was just like, okay, not a big deal. But like hearing that stuff too, I'm like, damn, like that solidifies it for me. I'm just like, because I think even people got in my head of like, is it like, you know, pop culture? Is it, you know, like all this stuff? Or like, could I have changed it? But I'm like, if no one is in my ear when I'm 3 years old telling me to be a boy,
right,
or telling me to do boy things, you know. So I'm just like, no, this is definitely how I just came out.
Oh,
This is what it is. I don't know. Like I feel like growing up it wasn't hard just because I don't know. I want to say it wasn't hard, but I just kind of lived in like a little oblivious kid. I was just like, like I'm just having a good time.
It's not at the forefront of your mind.
Yeah, I'm just like, whatever. And that whole thing of like people saying like, oh, like it's you know the TV doing it. It's like with anything where like a little bit of education gets out there. Like even they just said that with like people who are gay, just straight up gay. Like, oh, like now everyone wants to be gay. I'm like, no, it's just become more acceptable. Or people understand how to like define themselves now. Or maybe now they're less scared to come out and say it. But like there's always been gay people.
Yeah.
I always make the argument, I think my girl will choke me out if I say it one more time, that there's like birds that are homosexual. I'm like, that's
Really?
in nature. Yeah, like they choose their partners as male. Like they might reproduce, like they'll go and like some of them reproduce with females, but then their partners, they'll have like male partners and just like be together.
Yeah.
I'm just like, how do you fight that?
Were you?
It's a bird. The bird is not watching MTV.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Were you religious at all growing up?
Yeah, I grew up Catholic.
Did that ever cross did the world, like the religious world, ever cross your mind?
Yeah. Well, I grew up Catholic where like I had my first communion. And your first communion, I think you're like I want to say like first grade.
Okay.
Something like that. And I did it and I even wore a dress for that.
Oh.
But like I did it because I don't want to, first of all, like, I don't want to get super religious, but like I do believe in like a higher power. I think it's ignorant for me to think that there's nothing above me. There definitely is. Right. And I remember like even with my family, like it made them happy. You know, like it was almost like a rite of passage. Like, oh, not, you know, like everybody does their first communion. And my family, like I didn't grow up obviously rich, but like it was almost nice. Like one thing that they'd always, like a first communion is not cheap. Like they threw like a little party for me. And like all the time, like my family, like one thing I remember is like they'd always buy you a gold chain. Like a gold chain, like a little, it's either like the Virgin Mary or like, you know, the cross. And again, like we didn't have like a lot of money, especially just spending something like on a gold chain. It's not food, not, you know,
it's important.
Yeah. So I was just like, wow, like this means something to them that they're willing to like give me. So like when you're a baby, I don't know if you've ever seen little Hispanic babies, but they're usually just like iced out, just everything. But so I remember that and realizing like, okay, like I just thought it was sweet. I was like, to me, my religion or being Catholic was more of like my bond with my family.
Okay.
You know, like that's one thing for sure that we all have in common. And as I got older, obviously, like I've had my own interpretation of things because, like, again, Catholicism was very like anti-gay, this, that, and it was kind of just like I kind of boiled it down to intent. You know, like my intentions are pure in how I want to love somebody else, and I don't think, you know, they talk about God being all merciful, and I feel like this is true. Like if he sees my intent is good, he's not gonna hate on me for doing something that is deep inside of me. So I'm just like, that's kind of how I've learned to cope with it. I know even like my cousin, who's gay now, had trouble with it too because his parents were super religious, and he's like I don't want them to be mad at me. But in the end, like they were fine with it too. But it's just kind of like, I always talk about like people who have anger issues, and I can tell. I don't know if you can tell, but I can tell people who have anger issues because I'm just like sometimes they overcompensate. Like they're like super nice. Like if I'm mad about something, like I think it's okay to talk about it. Be like, okay, I didn't like that. But some people like they say like, everything is good, everything's great because like they're using yeah. Because they're using like their little mechanisms or whatever because they know they're gonna blow up.
Right.
I think about the same thing with religion, where like some people who are like over religious sometimes scare me a little bit because I feel like deep down in them they realize that there's something evil that they're trying to hide, or they're trying to like convince God is not there. So I feel like, and he can see everything. I don't know who you're trying to fool technically if you really believe in God, but I'm just like, I feel like as long as my intent is good and I'm just living my life truly as how I feel is right, then everything will be good.
Yeah.
Because if I took it the way it is, first of all, I don't care what everybody picks and chooses with religion. You know, people are super religious who are straight, have a wife, and then they go off and have an affair. You know what I mean? Like, give me a break.
Yeah. It's hypocritical.
Like, yeah. Everybody's
And you recently converted.
Yeah.
How was that? I didn't even like this all happened so fast, right? So like how did
yeah. So I converted to Islam.
Yeah.
And I just, one thing about that was like a big thing. Even when I like converted, the people in the mosque were like, how did you undress it to see that like it's not ISIS, basically?
They asked you this?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
because they were like, a lot of people have like the bad, like Islam has a bad stigma to it because of ISIS and all that and stuff. And I was like, honestly, like, I'm a pretty open-minded guy. Like, I do my research before I start judging things. But yeah, I mean, it's, my mom knows about, like, everybody knows about it. And I feel like the major thing is just like, it's still God. It's just a different word. It's Allah, but it's God. And you don't worship anything else, really. Like in Catholicism, it's like Jesus and all these saints and stuff. And to me, like, Islam is like, you just go straight to the source. Like, I'm not gonna mess around with all these little things. Like, I'm just gonna talk to God, because at the end he makes my judgment. So why am I gonna talk to somebody else?
Interesting.
So yeah, I converted. When did I convert? Was it like 4 or 5 months ago?
Feels longer, but
maybe
okay.
6. I don't know.
But did being trans have any play with that?
With like converting?
Yeah. Do they? I mean, I'm not familiar. So like, do they have anything in their scripts that talk about that?
I feel like maybe not being trans, but being like gay. I think they have stuff like that. But again, like when I was converting, I wasn't really. I feel like in every religion, there's like little things like that like.
But
everybody
do you think they would have? So did you disclose it?
No.
So do you think they would have been as accepting if you did?
Probably not.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't think.
But
they would.
You yourself know what your intent is, so that's what you were okay with.
Yeah, exactly. Like I didn't want to deal with that.
It's another. Yeah, we talked about that. That was like the majority of this episode, just like opening a can of worms.
Yeah, and I was like, that's difficult too. Like, yeah, I didn't.
Like if
obviously
it comes up, it comes up.
Right. Like I would have. I don't know. That's so weird to think about. Like I would have disclosed it if they truly asked, but like, you look at me, they're not gonna be like, are you trans? They're not gonna say that, you know. And it was kind of like.
But what if you weren't as passable?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what that would have been like for me. But at the same time, like, yeah. I don't know. I wish now I wish I would have brought it up. But I feel like that's with like any religion or type of thing. Like people are kind of like on that like don't ask, don't tell type of thing. Where it's like, I'm not gonna ask you, and you don't gotta tell me. But like, I feel like that's such like a side part where it's like the main thing is like you believe in God.
Yeah.
You know, like I really didn't find it necessary to bring up because I know that it's not going to change how I practice.
Right.
You know.
Right. And that's what really matters.
Yeah, and I don't want to sit there and have to explain to somebody either that me being trans is going to change how I practice, or
because
will.
Then you're just going to have to convince them that it's not going to affect how you practice it.
Yeah, and it's just like wasting my breath because either they're going to understand at the end of the day or they're not.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of things that I try. Like that's also why like we talk about my Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty open about things because I feel like for the most part I am like I'm gonna toot my own horn, but like a stronger person with like where I am in life and who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Where I like answering questions for people, like instead of them asking someone who's maybe not as comfortable or someone who's maybe not as confident in themselves, because I'd rather take that heat than someone else who's kind of like on the cusp of like, I don't want to say committing suicide,
right.
but it's a very real thing. Like a lot of trans people commit suicide. Like I watched that documentary and I was like, holy crap, how am I here? Like, how am I alive? How do I have like a bachelor's in nursing? How do I have a job? You know, like sometimes I feel like I should give myself a little more credit because I'm just like, I don't know, I'm just doing what I got to do. Like you got to keep moving. But there's so much that people go through behind the scenes that I know happens, but like obviously not going to ask. But I'd rather be that person to like more or less like advocate for them and like answer questions so they don't have to deal with it. You know, or like that way that many ignorant people aren't walking around like kind of making their life even more hell.
Yeah. And that's what this episode's about. So
right.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, my life's pretty chill. Just a regular person. I don't know. I've gotten so used to it that now like I'm just kind of like, I don't know. Like everybody wants to ask me about it. Cool. The only thing that makes me mad is when people want to talk about it just for gossip purposes.
Yeah.
It's just like if you really were curious and you would just come to the source. Everybody learns when you're a little kid. Your primary source is the best source.
True. And we talked about this off camera, but about there are those that are maybe more sensitive to it, and so they maybe want to get their bearings straight before they do come to the source. And I hope they're doing it because they do want to eventually come to the source and not just for the sake of gossiping. But yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, like we ended up walking on eggshells sometimes because we don't want to hurt someone else's feelings. Yeah. And so it's very cool when we do come across someone that is very open and willing to share. Yeah.
I guess I'm kind of cool.
You are very cool.
I mean, I don't know, like yeah. I feel like there's other things that like I still would like to do with like who I am, because I was even like, I talk about it to some people, like some people see like trans men, right? And not everybody's voice drops the way mine dropped. Okay. You know, where they still kind of have like a feminine voice, or not everyone can really grow a beard, or, you know, like not everyone, like I religiously work out. It's kind of annoying sometimes, you know, like.
That's what it ends up becoming.
Yeah. So like I need it. Like if I don't go work out for a while, I start to get like that dysphoria of like, I'm turning back into a girl. Holy shit.
Interesting. Yeah. So your definition of being a man is having muscles. Yeah. It's part of it.
Yeah. So like that helps me. You know, it's kind of like anybody, like when they go work out and they come home like, damn, I feel skinny. You know, but like you're really not any skinnier. But it's just that mental break of like, okay, I worked out, I sweat a little bit, and then you come home and you're like looking yourself in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I fit better in these pants. You really don't. But like that's how I feel too. Like that's why I feel like I work out so much. Yeah. Like I probably work out like 5 days a week if I'm super lucky, like 6.
How's chest day for you? Is that okay? Like, is it no issues with
Yeah, no
building
different.
chest muscle?
No,
Interesting. Okay.
not that I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, like some, I think do have issues with it because of like the way they make their incisions or like the way their pectoral muscles. Sometimes I think some like their pectoral muscles get like a little cut, like a little messed up, so like they might have like a little bit of issue. Ooh, but that is also one thing I want to talk to you about. So I think the biggest thing is, like, for instance, right now, the way you're sitting.
I know.
Is
I think I'm conscious about it. It's feminine.
Like technically feminine, right? Yeah. And I remember when I started to transition. And this is huge. I remember like always, like, I technically couldn't do anything feminine. Because, like, people want to nitpick. Or, like, even when people start to find out that I'm trans, like, I'll go to a party and, like, now I'm completely comfortable with myself. So you'll see me. You'll see me, like, twerking.
Yeah.
I'll do, like, little stupid voices, or I'll, like, just do things that technically...
Guys wish they can twerk.
Yeah, honestly. I don't know. I have a lot of friends that help me out. But, you know, like, I'll do things that maybe before I wasn't comfortable with, but now I am. But that was because, like, people would see me, like, oh, like... he's like that because he used to be a girl, or like, you know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
But there's things like technically you cisgender male, you sit like that. There's nothing wrong with it. But me transitioning, like, I can't sit like that because if I were to do that,
someone would nitpick.
Right. It would be like, oh, he does that because he used to be a girl. He's probably was used to wearing dresses, you know. But for you to do it is not a big deal. You know, like no one says like, oh, he does that because this. You're like, oh, he just does that.
Yeah.
So like, it's super annoying. And that's another thing that, like, when people, like, meet me first and then find out I'm trans, and then later on they'd be like, oh, that's why he's like that. Like, no, bro. Like, that's not why I'm like that. Like, I'm just like that. Like, there's men who are feminine. You know, cisgender who are feminine, there's men...
When you said, like, there's this fluidness and, like... Yeah, like... We all have a different range of masculinity and femininity.
Yeah, and I was, like, super afraid before of, like... being myself, like truly myself, because I feel like I'm always like, I like making people laugh, so I'm like goofy, and I think it's funny. Like, you see like some dude that obviously, like, I'm somewhat fit, work out a lot, whatever, and you just see him in the middle of the dance floor twerking on his girl. Like, you know, he's just like, what is wrong with this man?
Nothing's wrong with this man.
Like, he's just having a good time. Yeah, and it always makes people, even other people, me feel more comfortable. Like, damn, like I can do weird shit too. Mm-hmm. Like, it's okay.
When you see someone else living their own for themselves, like, oh, I'll live for myself.
Exactly. Or like even being like around, like, you and Dylan is very like, both of you, I feel like, push the boundaries of like what's masculine, what's feminine, what's weird, what's not weird. Like, I feel like when I'm around both, it's like nothing's weird. You know, I'm like, hey, so the other day, I just want to talk about my butt real quick. You know, like. I don't know, like, we just talk about the weirdest, and it's fine. Yeah. But that's because neither one of you are questioning me either. Like, oh, like, he's not. Or, like, in the midst of transition, some people are like, are you sure you want to be a male because you still do this? Oh. You know? But, like, people do that. And, like, people still do that to other people. And I feel like that was my biggest struggle when I was trans. Like, I can't twerk anymore. And I was so sad. Psych. Yeah. But, like, obviously I got back to it or whatever, but, like, that was, like, a definite thing that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, where just, like, they're going to nitpick at you. But you have to, I didn't realize till later that I'm, like, because then you start, like, looking around you and you start seeing, like, how other men act. Because there's straight men.
Like, what's the definition of being a, you know?
Yeah, like, that, like, have more, like, feminine qualities, or, like, some people think they're gay, but they have whole-ass wives. They just dress nice. You know, it's just, like...
tendencies.
Everybody has... They're just their own personality. But I feel like if you're transitioning, then you feel like you have to be the definition of macho man. Like, you can't do anything in between.
So what's that mean? Are you going to stop working out, Mason?
Absolutely not. I love working out.
But you're doing it for you.
Yeah. No, I like I like the way it feels.
Okay.
And also, I've always been a competitive person. Like, I played soccer since I was 4. Yeah. And I stopped playing, which was also saddening because I was supposed to go play for Loyola when I had to make that decision of like, am I gonna transition, or am I gonna go play soccer?
Yeah.
And I played soccer since I was 4. Like I loved it, and I was just like, mentally, I have to transition. Like I can't.
Interesting.
But I also didn't feel confident enough to like go play for the men's team, and I didn't know how that would work either.
So what do you think the future of sports is then for the trans community?
I don't know.
Is there going to be a whole trans? I mean, is that? I'm sure they do. They want to. Do you guys want to be part of like the guys and girls, or do you want your own section? Like, how does that work?
I don't like. I think about it, and I feel like me now. I would want to just be in a regular men's team.
Okay.
But then I think maybe
But
like
what about going
mids
the other-
transition me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You know, like while you're transitioning, I would probably, and that's funny because I played co-ed when I was like middle transition.
Right.
Like I did co-ed, like rec, like soccer, and that made me feel that like you're. I mean,
Maybe
there's
but what if
boys,
someone
there's
doesn't
girls.
want to settle? You know.
Yeah, that's. I don't know because I
But-
think about it too because it wouldn't be. But that's such a hard spectrum too because like even if we're on a trans team, like let's say it's like a
There's still gonna.
FTM
It's gonna
team.
still seem like a co-ed team.
Yeah, so like if let's say it's just straight up FTM, like female to male, like trans men.
Oh, okay, okay.
I wouldn't feel fair if it's like someone at the beginning of the transition than me, who's been working out for 4 years, has testosterone like flowing through me at a higher level than that person. Then then it seems unfair again.
I wonder if you have more testosterone than say me.
No.
Oh.
Alex thinks the same thing, and I want to punch him in the face for
Oh,
it.
does he? The thought just came in my head.
No, yeah. So like all the time we go work out, and like Alex is a big guy. He's like 6 foot something. Oh, he's 6 feet, and he's like
We love you, Alex.
yeah, like 220 or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, whatever. We can lift the same weight. There's some things that he lifts more than me, obviously because he's a bigger man. But he's like, it's not fair. You're cheating. You give yourself shots. I was like, Alex, it's not cheating. It's just that like you produce it naturally. I have to inject it. But my doctor has a range in which he wants me to be in, which is the same range that you're in as a male.
Interesting.
So we have the same amount of testosterone flowing through us. The only nice thing about you is you get like a steady flow. I get like, now with the new injection thing that I have, it's better. But before, it's like I get a surge of testosterone when I take my shot.
Yeah.
And then it basically dwindles off until it's nothing,
Interesting.
basically. And then another surge.
I remember you talking about like the side effects of like breaking out and things
Yeah,
like
it really
that.
sucked.
Right? Yeah.
Going through puberty twice. Sucks
Fuck.
ass.
Is it twice a month?
No, I'm just saying, like, I went through puberty as
Oh,
a female,
yeah.
and then I went
Yeah,
through puberty
yeah,
as a
yeah.
male. But no, it's once a week. Now I
Once a
take
week?
it, and
Holy
it's
shit.
like, I think it's technically sub-Q, but it's like an EpiPen. Because before,
EpiPen's like the needle's like fucking.
yeah, but listen, this is 10 times better than what it used to be, because before, it was intramuscular,
Okay.
and the needle's like this
Oh my
big.
god.
Yeah, and it's like an 18 gauge.
Yeah.
So I'm drawing it up, and I have to inject it in my thigh once a week. And now it's an EpiPen that's like in my stomach. So I like pinch some.
It's kind of like insulin, huh?
Yeah, and
Oh.
and then, but the needle is super thin,
Yeah.
and I just hold it there for whatever 10 seconds, and then it's done. And it's I think it's sub Q. I should know. I'm pretty sure it's sub Q.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives me more of like a steady
Slow release.
Yeah, because like
Interesting.
before acne was hell.
Yeah.
Like now it's still there, and I feel like eventually, because I feel like when I first transitioned, you're like 12 again. You know, you have like 12, 14, you have stupid acne, you going through your little growing pains, whatever. And now I feel like 16, 17 as a boy. So now like you still struggle with acne a little bit, but I feel like as time goes on, like it'll clear up some
Okay.
more. But yeah, that's 10 times better than what it used to be.
Oh, good to hear.
Yeah.
With the sports thing, what about the other side of the coin if it's male to female?
Ooh.
And they were trying to go into the play around with the females.
So
Do they?
we were talking about bathrooms. Remember we were talking about bathrooms?
No.
No, I'm talking about. Oh, sorry. Me and Dylan were talking about bathrooms.
Oh.
Because I made her watch this stupid documentary with me, and so like that I feel like is so hard. Like if you're a male, And you're talking about a male to female who's now trying to play with like other cis females. I feel like it's cruel to be like, oh, there's a certain criteria you have to meet, where it's like you have to have some type of breast development. You know what I mean? To like you have to check these boxes and then you can play with the females. I feel like that's going to be taken as mean. But I feel like on the whole sports world, everything is like trying to make things like equal, like technically, because you're not like even as a you're not allowed to take like performance enhancement drugs, you know, and you have to like if you're from the U.S., you have to play for the U.S. like in the Olympics. Like,
Right.
You can't go play for somewhere else where height's a different thing or stuff like that. So I feel like that's very tricky because.
But it's like muscular development.
Yeah.
Like that, I think, is the largest argument.
But if you think about it, male to female, depending on what age you do it, it's like what would be the criteria? Because if you have hormone blockers and you're male to female, then you would never really develop that shoulder widening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, but if you were 25 and then you change,
Right.
you still have broad shoulders.
Right.
You still get that height.
Right. The bone structure.
Right.
All
So
that.
even if you transition back, like you still kind of have all those things that can give you a one up on cis females, and I feel like then that they would make a good argument of like why not. So I feel like
Why not what?
like they make a good argument of like why they should be allowed to play with cis females.
Right.
And I couldn't even knock it. Like I want to, but I can't. You know, like you got broad shoulders. You look like a linebacker, man. But there's also women who are bigger built.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
But
it's just not the norm.
It'll be, I think with time, like they'll figure out like the little tidbits of it. And honestly, with time, I also feel like there will be less people transitioning at an older age. Because if you think about there's kids
because it's
now.
being more accepted now. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
like it wouldn't take me till 20 years old to transition because I don't even know what the hell trans means. You know? Because I feel like if I knew the definition before, I would have definitely transitioned before.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah. So I feel like eventually it wouldn't be so hard of a decision to make.
Yeah.
But it would still probably be a criteria of like, okay, if you transition before the age of 12, then you can.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
before you go through puberty as that gender and you transition to another one, then you could be considered cis. Or, I don't want to say be considered cis, but play with the cis female or a cis male team.
Right. Okay.
But other than that, maybe they have their own league.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that could be a thing too.
Because if the community builds enough, there's going to be enough people.
Yeah. But I wonder if that community wants to play with everyone else, you know?
I think there's probably both ends of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Because I would like to play with everyone else.
Because if you want to be the best at something, you gotta play with everyone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I would also want, like, I'd want both.
Yeah.
I'd want to play with the guys, and then I'd also, like, want to play with, like, other trans people.
Okay.
Just for, like, community-based. Like, that'd be fun to, like, know.
Maybe that's something you can start, too.
You were even asking me, like, if I knew any, like, other, and I really don't. Like, I don't have any trans friends or anything like that.
Yeah.
I know we exist, obviously. But not, like, I mean, do you know anybody else? Not like personally.
Not personally, but yeah.
Yeah.
Just maybe because I've just come across so many people with the class.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, not personally.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I don't like, and I don't know, because I also don't want to be friends with someone just because they're trans.
Right. Right.
You know.
Right,
So I'm just like,
yeah, we talked about that earlier.
Me and
too.
you, like, on a regular basis, would not be friends. Like, if it matches up,
just
we're like,
because.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like, I just, again, like, that's me being someone that I don't like, where like they're just friends with me because I'm trans,
Right.
not because
Right.
of me. Like, it's I don't know. It is what it is.
And you mentioned bathrooms earlier with Dylan. What was that conversation like?
We were talking about, I was just like, Dylan, look at me in the face. First of all, no, I'm just kidding. No, I was like, look, if I walked into your bathroom, would you feel comfortable? She's like, no, I would scream. And I was like, exactly. So they were having that whole argument of how trans people should not be allowed to use the bathroom that they feel like they assign themselves
it
to.
depends on where in the journey they're at.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Everything's so black and white in the political world.
Yeah.
Like they're not looking at that. I'm like, are you joking? Like, you know how pissed some lady would be if she saw me in the bathroom? She'd be like, what the hell are you doing? You know, like that same person making the argument of like, well, I don't want, you know, some guy who's transitioning to female to be in my bathroom. Like, you would be weirded out if I walked into your bathroom. If I had to walk into the bathroom that I was assigned at birth, you would start screaming. Then you might change your mind. You know, then you might have a little more.
So she said absolutely not when you were. What if you were like earlier in the journey while you like closer to Megan than Mason?
With Dell?
Yeah, or just in people
Like
in general. Like, you're passable. Like, that's why we say that now. But like, what if you weren't?
See,
and then
but that's what I'm saying though. But like, you can't sit there and make a law and say you have to, because then I'd have to walk into the girls' bathroom still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, if I was before I transitioned, I used to go into the men's bathroom.
Okay.
Because I didn't feel comfortable. It's kind of like throughout high school, I would use the bathroom before I left for school.
Right.
And then I would hold it the entire time.
In that documentary, there was a kid that they're like, well, just go to the nurse's office.
Yeah. Well, you know how freaking far the nurse's office is?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not going to, you know, like the other, like, so I wouldn't use the bathroom because I had one experience where, so I had short hair.
Yeah.
And even though, like, if someone were to look at me and, like, hear my voice, they would eventually be able to figure out that I was a girl.
Yeah.
At first glance, like, they wouldn't. So I didn't like how uncomfortable I made girls in the girls' bathroom. Like, they'd almost, like, have... We talk about, like, let the people have their first, like, oh, my God. And without me there, but they would do that.
Back then, people's perception of you were just like, Megan's gay.
Yeah.
So then they shouldn't have been freaking out because...
Well, I had a bigger high school, so, like, a lot of people knew me, but it's not like everyone I walked into the bathroom with knew that I was Megan and I was gay. Like, they just saw, like...
But even then, it's like, it's still different than being trans.
Yeah. But technically, you could have called me trans when I was a kid, but I just wasn't on hormones.
Looking back, for sure.
Because I was like, I had short hair. But that's what I'm saying. I didn't feel right making them so uncomfortable.
Right.
You know, like, I kind of did it at my own discretion. I started using the guy's bathroom, like, when I was out in public because... And, when I walked in, no one batted an eye.
Even back then?
Even back then. And when I was straight up, no hormones... No chest masculinization, just short hair and boy clothes.
Oh, wow.
Like, and I went to the guy's bathroom. I never had.
Were
a
you
reaction.
worried about anything happening?
Yeah, I mean, I still was. I think I still somewhat am sometimes.
No, dude, you're good now.
Well, it depends. Like, before all my surgeries, when I still had to sit down to pee, I was afraid of that.
Yeah.
Because I had I had a teacher who's a science teacher, and he was, like, super cool. And I saw him posting on Facebook when I was younger, and it was legit, like, I just heard a grown man sit down and pee. What the fuck? And, like, he was making fun of it.
Wow.
You know? And I was just, like, that scared me because I read that. This is my science teacher. He's, like, super open guy, super dope. And him is, like, basically commenting on how a man goes pee in the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And before, like, I had all my surgeon stuff and I would still have to sit down and pee, like, that was worrisome. I was just like, shit. Or, like, I would it sounds stupid, but, like, I would, like, flush the toilet and, like, just force my pee out.
Right.
So, like, they wouldn't be able to hear me peeing sitting down, so maybe they think I'm, like, taking a fucking shit. And then, like, there's always cracks in doors. And then you have to wipe yourself when you're a female, you know, so, like, hurry up, try and do that, but make it look like you're wiping your ass.
Yeah.
Type of thing. And this is something, I don't think I've ever said this out loud, but, like, you know, like, that's just something that, like, you worry about.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, some men are like, I don't know, why are you listening to this other guy go to the bathroom? I don't know, but it's a thing. So yeah, I always felt better going to the guys, but only for those instances where I'm just like, I hope I have to poop today, so I could just do them all both at the same time. And then you can smell my shit, and then we'll be okay. But
Interesting. Most people aren't excited about pooping in public.
yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, I hear you.
I definitely was. But like yeah, like I said, like in high school, I would hold it, and then there's one day where there was a girl who, because in the bathroom, women in hijabs can take their hijab off, and like, you know, because other women are allowed to see them, but men aren't. And so I walked in one day and she had her hijab off, and then she kind of like scurried to put it back on. And I felt so bad. And after that, like, I never went to the girls' bathroom again because I was just like, oh, like, I know technically, like, I am female, and that's not like, I'm not, you know, doing anything against your, you know, what.
But they don't know. Yeah.
Right. But in your head, I was a guy that just walked in and seen your hair. Oh. And I was like, I'm not doing that again.
Interesting.
So then I just went to the guys' bathroom. But, like, yeah. So I'm, like, stuff like that, I'm just like, I guess in some ways, I guess you can make an argument for both sides, but I feel like there's a better argument for just having, like, gender-neutral bathrooms.
Mm-hmm. Which is what they're moving towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. I don't think it's fair for, like, you saying you definitely have to go to the guy's bathroom or you definitely have to go to the girl's bathroom.
Yeah.
Because at the most part, like, I'm fully aware. A lot of trans people, I feel like, are fully aware of how they are perceived by people. We're literally just staring at people's faces all day, either being, like, shocked by us or, like, them. Like, it's really strange talking to somebody and, like, having a conversation and then all of a sudden see, like, a switch go off in their head and their, like, mentality and, like, mood change to you because, like, oh shit, like, I thought I was talking to a guy, but this is really a girl, you know?
Yeah.
And then now it's different. And then it's like, then you feel bad.
Yeah.
But that's also when I was younger, like, when in the midst of my transition, like, I've definitely gotten more confident, but I could not really look people in the eyes and talk.
Yeah.
Because the more I made eye contact, the more, like, I didn't just hurry up and say what I had to say, is when they would figure it out. And then I have to deal with that. So I wouldn't make eye contact because then they wouldn't be able to kind of, like, look at my bone structure, listen to my, you know, they're like, oh, maybe he's just like a 13-year-old kid going through puberty. Like, I've always had a baby face, you know, so like maybe it's just like, you know, younger boy. But yeah, those are my struggles.
Yeah, man.
That is my trauma.
Can you and then so I think that's a good transition to bottom surgery.
Yeah.
When did you like decide make that decision?
When it got, like, enough dysphoria came in.
Okay.
Where it was, I'm sick of flushing the toilet and forcing my pee out.
Would you have done that before top surgery if you could have?
No.
Oh, okay.
I feel like bottom surgery for a lot of people is nerve-wracking.
It's more drastic.
Yeah, and I feel like for female or male to female, they have it down packed. Like, the science is down.
Surgeons.
Like, right. Like, the penis, they basically just, like, split it open, invert it, and you have a vagina.
Okay.
And you can get, like, arousal, sensation, all that. But with, like, male to female.
Or the other way around.
Sorry.
Female to male.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Female to male. They don't have it down packed.
Okay.
Where it's definitely more like you have to, like a lot of times some people still can't stand to pee, or there's complications, there's huge risk with infection. It's such a long process. Like, there's 2 different types of surgery you can get, right? You want to know the surgery? Do you know the surgeries?
There's 2?
There's 2. There's like phalloplasty and metoidioplasty. So phalloplasty is like you get like a full phallus, same size or whatever, but then you have like a bunch of scars on your body from taking skin, and you can't. The problem with it too is that, like, you know, like a normal, I don't want to say normal, but we'll say normal male's penis, like, before, when it's flaccid, it's a different size from when it's erect. So with, like, one that's made from your skin, there is no change in size.
It's all
right.
Okay.
So it's a lot of them also have, like, you have to be like, am I gonna have more dysphoria by making it seem like I look like I have a boner all day long? Because it's always like
that big,
somewhat firm and big, and then you have to go a year later to get like they do it to like older men who can't get an erection anymore, where they put like a penis pump in to get erect, and they put like it in one of your balls.
Yeah, a switch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you pump it.
Oh, pump it. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then it like whatever becomes erect. But like the science is not there, where the sensation might not come back all the way. You might not be able to be erect the way you thought you could. And then that's like what, 2 years of straight healing. Or you could do the metoidioplasty, where you kind of keep everything. You kind of just like release the clitoris, and it kind of like they take like some skin from the inside of your cheek to like create more phallus, so it's kind of like it can withstand being moist, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, a lot that I've seen like on YouTube and stuff, when I was like trying to make my decision, it was like it's scary, because like because everybody likes to orgasm. I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
And the thought of being able to lose that sensation is
yeah.
scary. Like, imagine if you couldn't feel the tip of your penis anymore.
Yeah.
You know, or they said like this is either can be super good for you or no more orgasms, or you can, but it's gonna be super dull.
Oh wow.
And like I'm 25.
Yeah.
To live the rest of your life after that,
like rabbits at that point.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just ready to go. But like honestly, if you don't wanna take that risk, so I feel like a lot of times when people are trying to make the decision to do it, I'm like, honestly, if you're happy, if your partner's happy with you, then like just do what feels like. If you really have that much bottom dysphoria, then do it. If you feel like it's life or death, then do it. But if you're just doing it because you think that like someone will accept you more, I don't think that's true. Like you gotta do what's best for you and what feels best for you too.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's worth it if it's losing an orgasm, or
because
a lot of times people have like constant infections or UTIs and like getting older, stuff like that.
And I know you're out of the dating pool now, but like at what point, I mean, and it's very situational, but like do you disclose that when you're dating?
Ooh. Yeah, so like so I got out of a very long relationship.
Yeah.
Where I went through my transition.
Right. They know everything.
There was no explaining to do. And then when I began to date again, that was probably the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. And that was probably one of the biggest things that like I was afraid of when coming out of that relationship, was like, how am I, like, as dramatic as it sounds, like how am I going to get somebody to love me? Like I feel like a weirdo, you know, in a sense.
Yeah.
So, like, I have to explain everything. I have to explain scars in my body. I have to explain how my body works or what my genitalia looks like. And I remember the person that I ended up, who I'm now, like, engaged to, like, was, very understanding and, like, allowed me to kind of do it at my own pace.
Oh, wow.
And later on, she told me, she's like, I mean, I knew already. I was just, like, waiting for you to feel comfortable with it.
Oh, I didn't know that. So you guys knew each other?
No, like, I think, well, like, you know, like the same type of gossip that went around from school. Like, oh, like, he's trans.
I think you guys went to school together.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I
went
didn't
to
know
nursing school together.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so, like, she knew I was trans. But, like, obviously, like, bottom-wise, like, I feel like not everybody...
No, yeah.
And that's one thing that, like, I've discussed with her. I'm like, I don't think anybody needs to know what's in my pants.
No.
You know, like, unless you're physically going to be interacting with me in that way, is not necessary.
No.
So I feel like that's definitely one question that if I were to, like, advise anybody not to ask a trans person, it's that. You know, like, just leave it alone. Unless you don't
go around asking your bros like how
big is it?
Yeah.
What does it look like? Yeah, no, it's a look? No.
Can't turn inside.
No, honestly, but like I just don't ask it, you know.
Yeah.
And I stick by that because even like her, when I was talking, she never even asked me. And I was like, this is definitely someone who is trying to like we're trying to be like romantically involved, and she never even asked me because it didn't matter. You know, like, everyone will figure out a way to have sex. Yeah. You know? So I remember it being super nerve-wracking, and I didn't know what to do, and I was just like, please love me. No, I'm just kidding. For the love of God. No, but yeah, like it was kind of just like, I hope this doesn't turn you off, but it was also kind of like I was prepared for it.
Yeah.
And trying to be understanding, like, I understand, like, if this is something that is too much for you to deal with. But let me know. Don't try to, like, lie and be like, oh, no, it's not a big deal. And then later on, I have to deal with you being like, okay, never mind, I'm joking. You know? Like, now, don't let it be, like, a little lusty thing where right now you're okay with it, but later on you're not. So, yeah, I feel like having that conversation is necessary. And I remember talking to Dylan, too, about it, because I was just like, I don't know how to bring it up. She's like, just bring it up. I was like, yeah, Dylan, but like you've never like, Dylan's a cis female.
Yeah.
She's never really like had to explain something like that, in a sense. And you, both of you are very like open with stuff like that. And I feel like, what's the craziest thing you had to explain to somebody about your body that's not the norm? You know, like everything might be. Yeah. You like, I might have this weird kink.
Right.
But there's nothing that's like, okay, yeah, by the way, like I have this on my body. Like it's nothing crazy. Like you don't go to a girl, I'm like, hey, did you know, like I have a penis. Yeah. And she's like, holy shit. You know, like no one does that because like that's normal. But like having to like go to somebody and legit tell them like, okay, I have this.
Yeah.
How do you, will you play with? You know, like I don't know. But so it was, I didn't even like, sometimes people will like message me on Instagram and ask me about like how I transition or like how like what doctor I go to, or like top surgery, bottom surgery type things, and I love answering those questions. And they'll ask me like, "Oh, how did you tell your parents?" or "How do you do this or do that?" And I'm just like, I feel like everyone is different. Like I wrote my parents a letter, or I wrote my dad a letter. I told my mom like in person. But my dad, I feel like, is very much like, I don't know, I feel like that's saddening. Like, you have a daughter, you have a little girl, and now, like...
Now you got a
like,
son.
Yeah. But it's, like, it's almost heartbreaking, because, like, I feel like dads love their daughters, like, you know? But, yeah, like, so I feel like everyone is different, and you have to figure out, like, how... Like, you know your parents, you know your family, you know your friends. Figure out how it's most comfortable to tell them. You know, and like even with like whoever you're dating, I feel like in my head I was just like, I'm gonna have to talk about it eventually, and if anything, it just weeds out one person who is obviously not for me.
Yeah,
you know, because I'm like, if there's a problem, then there's gonna be a problem later, and like obviously when you first started dating somebody, you put your best foot forward, right? You put your best outfits on, you're like trying to smell good every day. So it's not something that I brought up right away, but definitely like, you know, maybe like, I want to say like a month into it, when things started like, you know, they heat up or whatever, you're going to have to talk about it. I didn't want to just like spring it on her. Like, I'm just like, let's talk about it.
That's her.
Hello. Yeah. No. So like, I feel like it's delicate and it's nerve wracking, but at the same time, you have to realize like, if it's meant to be, it'll be.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm super big on that. Like I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I don't know. Maybe that's just my coping mechanism, but I feel like if at the end of the day, if she wouldn't have accepted it, that means that there's someone out there better for me that is gonna love me the way, you know, she couldn't. And there's no fault in that either with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like I think that's nice, being honest. Like I'm like, you know what, Victor, I really want a man with a size 8 shoe, and you don't have that.
Oh, okay.
You know,
that's okay.
I will be fine. Yeah, but like that's being honest. You know, like I'm not gonna sit here and like sugarcoat it or say that I'll be okay with it, and then now you're invested 2-3 years with me, and now look where we are. Now we're both crying. Now we're both sad. Pass the ice cream. But yeah, like I don't know. I feel like that's always difficult.
Yeah, that's one of the things it's kind of like related but unrelated that I really admired about you is your ability to tell it like it is. Yeah. Say no, call someone out on their bullshit.
I like that.
Yeah. Sometimes it gets you in hot water sometimes, but like
a lot of times it gets you in hot water.
But you're living your life, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, why am I like this? I like sometimes like I'm just like, wow. Like I don't know. I make jokes sometimes, and they're legit jokes, and people take it to heart. I'm like, I was just kidding.
Yeah.
You know, or like, even you, like, but you sound stupid when you try to like justify yourself, like even like your whole like dilemma with like they them, like having like slipping up.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that you have anything against trans people, you know, but how stupid you look. Like my best friend's trans. I love him. His name is Mason. You know, like then it's just like now you're making excuses. You know, like, but the same thing. Like I feel like I'm a very open-minded guy, and if I say a joke, it's truly a joke. Like I'm not trying to be mean, and if I don't know, like I'm not. First of all, me and you were not born yesterday. Like if someone's doing something wrong, I will say it because it's like, bro, you're not kidding, or you know, you're really being an ass.
Yeah, intent.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't know. Like, I feel like everyone should just grow up.
Not too quickly, but grow up.
Yeah, but like it's like jokes are jokes. Like the other day, my dad was talking to me about comedians, and he was talking about who's the voice of Donkey, Eddie Murphy.
Okay.
And how who's the guy that rapes everybody with date rape drugs? The black guy. No, with Raven Simone. He's like you know who I'm talking about.
Raven Simone.
Was that her name? Yeah.
That's so Raven?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
She was a child actor, remember?
Yes.
Cosby? Bill Cosby?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Him.
wait, what?
Yeah. Victor, do not tell me you don't know about Bill Cosby.
Oh, I forgot she was on the Cosby Show.
Yeah, she was his baby. Whatever. Yeah. So he was talking about Eddie Murphy and Bill Cosby and how like Eddie Murphy had some like raunchy jokes back in the day, and Bill Cosby was like a very like family-friendly comedian guy. And my dad was saying like, I don't understand what the big deal is. Like they're comedians, like they're just making jokes. Like it's nothing like that's supposed to be taken to heart and stuff like that. And we had like somewhat of a debate about it because I was like, I also feel like when comedians make jokes, they're just jokes, right? But I also feel like it's almost like if I make a joke to you, I know my place with you. Like, you know my intent. You know, like, I'm not a bad guy. But I always find myself having to, like, have people warm up to me to know my intent. Because otherwise, if I'm just me, they're just like, this guy's an asshole.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's like, he's not a joke.
They just don't know you yet.
Though. Right, but it truly is a joke. But I'm also ready for, like, how it can be perceived. Like, you have to consciously, like, tell a joke. You know, if I'm going to sit here and make a joke about your chinky eyes, I'm going to have to be, like, ready to be like, well, maybe he had an experience where he was really bullied about his eyes. You know? But I'm also ready with, like, an apology-ish, where I'm just like, bro, I'm just kidding. They're very beautiful.
Did you watch Chappelle's last couple specials?
Oh, I saw Chappelle's, yeah.
Yeah.
He was talking about the transgender.
Right. In both specials, he kind of went deeper in the second one.
Yeah. So some of it was funny, and some of it I was like, ow.
Oh.
But at the same time, like, it's kind of like when you're a kid, like, my parents always taught you have to learn to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
You can't take everything.
He makes fun of everyone.
He literally made fun of everybody. You know, like, and I can't be a hypocrite and sit there and laugh about his white lady jokes and then not laugh about my own. You know, like, so it was kind of just like, if you don't like something, you don't like an instance, you don't like how something's happening, like, as long as it's not hateful, I feel, then just turn it off. I think at some point, because I think he started talking more about trans people at the end, and I just turned it off after a while. I was like, I don't need to hear that. It's okay. You know, I thought some of it was funny, and other parts I was like, But if someone's legit coming at me, like, at a bar, then I'm going to say something back.
Right.
You know, but, like, I don't know. Like, everything, to me, is situational. I feel like people make things too, like, black and white, where it's like, oh, they can't say anything bad about trans people if they're not trans. I don't think that's fair. You know, like, you don't know their life. You don't know who they know personally. You know, so it's kind of just like, I don't know. I'd like to hear it out. Why are you joking like that?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Do you really hate trans people, or are you just making a little joke and then we move on with our lives and we don't have to, you know, revisit it? But I really don't, but I feel like I also don't want people to judge me off of some jokes that I make. You know?
Yeah. Like,
I make jokes, you know, about religion sometimes, or like stuff like considerably, but like you don't know me, like, you know, like you look at me. I was telling my girl, I was like, I'm the poster child for like just fuck them up, man. God said, you know, I was like, because the other day she was like crying about something. And I was just like, girl, you got to pick a struggle. You can't have all the struggles. You know, like either you're sad today or you're not. Or like, you know, your car broke down. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I was like, a lot of times I just pick a struggle. You know, like, yes, trans sometimes is a struggle. And today I would like to cry about it. You know, like you can cry about something, but eventually you got to get up and do something about it.
Yeah.
But you look at me, first of all, I'm a Hispanic male when you look at me, right? So I'm Hispanic, whatever, we can cry about that. You know, like right now what's happening with like immigration and how we're being profiled. Legit, the other day, it was New Year's Eve, and I got pulled over as I pulled into McDonald's.
What?
To pick up my girl's sister, who was out having a good time or whatever. And I got out of the car because I didn't think he was pulling me over. I was just walking to McDonald's, and he was like, get the fuck back in there. He was like, yeah, screaming at me, right? And my girl was like, what is happening? And she was asking like the officer next to her, like, what did we do? And he was like, what's his name? And he's like, Mason. And he's like, no, what's his name? And he was like yelling at her, you know, pointing at me. He's like, it's Mason. Like, but like, what did we do? And then it was like 2 white cops, and the other guy's like asked I gave him my license, whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna be super nice because if I don't know, something goes down, this one is gonna be crying. The cop's gonna be screaming. It's not gonna be a good time. And she's like, I don't understand. I'm like, it's just the world we live in. Like, look at me. First of all, no, I'm kidding. No, but I'm like, look at me. Like, it is what it is. Like, this is just the world we live in right now. They're super about like Hispanic people. It's New Year's Eve. I'm pulling into McDonald's. We literally were driving so calmly. I was like,
they were doing it like a drunk driver thing.
I don't know what they were doing. He literally came. He grabbed my license, and she was like, "Where?" I'm like, "I don't have any warrants for my arrest. They're just gonna check my license. It's gonna be okay." And it's like he didn't even want to talk to me after. He like handed me my ID without. He's like, "Just go."
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I was just
maybe they're
like,
looking for someone. I don't know. They should explain themselves.
They really don't. But I was like, "This is just the worst." She's like, I mean, I knew that like stuff like this happened, but I never saw it. And I was like, yeah, it makes it real.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah. So I was like, and now like I'm trans and I'm Muslim. So it's kind of like all these things when you look at me, you would never know. So when I make jokes about things.
It's because you've been through shit.
Exactly. Like I've experienced it. But maybe someone who's trans, or maybe I make a trans joke and he hears me say it, they'd be like, oh, fuck this guy. Like, what is he? But I do know.
Yeah.
You know? So I kind of think the same thing with other people. I'm like, I don't know what they've been through.
Just laugh at yourself, man. You gotta take it easy.
Like, you could be with a whole ass trans woman. I wouldn't. I mean, and you can make a joke and it would be okay. And, like, you're just joking with her. Maybe I overhear it. But it's like, just mind your business. It's okay. I don't know. But, like, I don't really have a problem with anybody. I kind of just, like, because I see myself in everything that's, like, you would never guess about me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I try not to be too serious about, like, the whole trans thing. Because I want to paint it in a lighter, like, color than it is right now.
Okay.
Like, it should be taken serious and into the, like, facts of, like, whatever, like the suicide rate and like how hard it is mentally for people. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I just feel like I'm tired of it like defining people too. Mm-hmm. Because there's so much more to everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
don't let it box
you in. Ask me about anything else.
Yeah.
Not my wiener. Like, I'm so tired. But yeah, I mean, it's not that serious. But then again, that's me. Like, I'm just kind of like,
yeah.
We could talk about something else. We could talk about your wiener if you want.
No, man. I'm good. I don't know a guy that likes to talk about their wiener.
I don't know either, honestly.
Maybe Kev Beyer, but
that man's something else, though.
Yeah. Well, we're running at 2 hours. It's been 2 hours, bro.
Wow. How?
We'll save another. We'll probably You should come back on for like a different topic because we were trying to do like something else too.
I'm down.
Yeah, like a relationship thing.
Yeah, I talk a lot.
I think Dylan would be great on that.
Hell yeah.
He would be good. So
I feel like it's funny. Me and Dylan are. I want like us like really close friends, but there are some things even you like we do not see eye to eye on.
Oh.
Which is, but I like it because it's like, we say it respectfully, but it's like some things that we legit were like we agree to disagree.
Okay.
You know, but it's funny because we're still good friends. But
Yeah.
I'm just like my relationship. I don't tolerate
That's
this.
the way the world should work.
Yeah, but in yours, you do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'd be interesting because I feel like even though we are all friends, we have different ways of thinking about that type of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about relationships or life in general?
Like relationships, even life, I guess.
Okay.
Like.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good episode.
Yeah.
A juicy. Everyone's like, "How are you still friends with Dylan?" I'm like, "Why not?"
Yeah. See that. That is how me
but
and
it's
you
situational.
like,
It's
right,
situational.
exactly. Are different, you know, because same thing. If I was faced with the same, I might also be friends with my ex, but it'd have to be your situation. But it's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So right now in my head, through my experience, that's not possible.
Yeah, we never really wronged each other, so it's like
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's very kosher, very
halal.
civil.
Oh,
Yeah, halal.
Okay, so we'll just close it out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Catch you guys in the next episode. Stay curious. Habla aloha. And
Habla aloha.
we'll link Mason Merida on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little ASMR later.
Oh my god!
I just think it's so cool. Everyone should experience.
I like how we have headphones on.
I know. I'm in your head.
Okay.
Close your eyes. No, I'm just kidding. All right, sorry. Go ahead. Close out.
Okay, thank you guys.